We're going to start this little warm-up with some foam rolling. Go ahead and place it right under your back and start rolling back and forth with having your hands support your neck and your head. We're going to roll right throughout the entire spine except for your very low back. We're going to stop right around where your ribs end. Go ahead and roll a few more times, opening up your chest at the last level. Then what we're going to do is we're going to stop at one level of your vertebrae, open up, then tuck back in, roll up a level of your vertebrae, open up, tuck back in, roll up, open up your chest as far as you can, and tuck back in all the way up until you reach the level between your thoracic and your cervical, your neck area. Now we're going to go a little bit on your side to roll through your lat and a little bit of your shoulder blade area. As you can see, I'm kind of turned a little bit to the side and I am supporting myself with my legs fully and rolling back and forth. This may be a little uncomfortable and painful. Now I'm going a little bit down to get really into that armpit and roll through the serratus and a little bit of other rotator cuff muscles. So make sure you're really getting in there, and you can actually sit on the ground for this one so it's not too intense. Go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. If it's too difficult for you to support yourself with your legs, you can sit on the ground and just kind of prop yourself right over the foam roller and roll that way so it's not too intense or too painful. You can also place your free hand on the foam roller to guide the movement. We're going to move on to foam rolling your glutes. Go ahead and sit on the foam roller, place one leg above the other like so, and roll on the side of the free leg. Make sure to really stay on the spots that are a little uncomfortable or painful just for a few more seconds, and you'll feel the release of those trigger points and those knots. Don't forget to roll the other side a few times. Usually the most sensitive spots are kind of towards the side of your hip, not so much on the back. Time for some shoulder movement. Go ahead and sit on your heels, place the foam roller in front of you and your wrists right on top of the foam roller, and allow the foam roller to roll your arms forward without moving your back. So we're just moving the shoulder blades and allowing the foam roller to take your arms as far as they can go. Try to keep your neck in line with your spine as you reach the very end point. And just kind of be gentle and slow with it. Now go ahead and place your elbows on the foam roller. Keep your head nice and relaxed and just allow the foam roller to roll forward just a tiny little bit and kind of move it back and forth. Very, very gentle motion. Bring the foam roller a little further away from you and just the elbows are touching still. Relax your head and lean into that position to get a further stretch of your shoulder blades. Now let's get a little bit more of a side stretch. Lean into your right side to feel your left side open up. Take a few breaths in this position. Switch over to the other side. Once again, a few deep breaths, and you can lean more into your heels to get a bigger stretch. Place something between your knees. It could be a towel or a pillow. Go ahead and go on your side. Your ribs are off the ground. Your arm is supporting your head, and you're just going to slowly shrug your shoulder up and scoot it all the way down towards your pelvis. Your arm is resting right in front of you, your neck is not moving, and your rib cage is not moving as well. It's just the shoulder movement. Very slow and very gentle. Don't forget to breathe. Position your hand with the back of your palm facing the ground. You're going to reach forward with your elbow. In this position, I'm just reaching my elbow towards the camera, and then I'm retracting my shoulder, kind of placing it into my back pocket. and then you're going to reach forward like you're trying to grab something, but it's with your elbow, and reach back into your back pocket. Make sure your rib cage is not moving. A lot of people will try to lean in forward with their chest. It's just the shoulder that's moving. After 8 reps of forward and backward movement, we're going to do circles, combining all the movements together. Your wrist is resting in front of you. You're just shrugging your shoulder up into your back pocket, down towards your pelvis, and forward. Make sure to keep your pelvis nice and stable. Your ribs are not twisting or moving anywhere. It's just your shoulder blade that's doing the circles. Okay, let's move on to the other side. Gently shrug the shoulder up and scoot it all the way down towards the side of your hip. This is not a back and forth movement, it's an up and down movement. Your ribs are nice and stable, and so is your pelvis. After 8 reps of up and down, we're moving on to forward and backward. As you can see, my shoulder blade comes forward to the front of my body, and then it scoots back towards the other shoulder or into your back pocket, whichever makes more sense for you. Once again, my rib cage is in place. All of these exercises are going to be 8 reps each. Let's move on to circles on this side. Shrug your shoulder up, into the back pocket, down, and forward. I hope you can see the movement on my shoulder blade. My ribs are still in place. They're not moving. I'm not twisting forward. I'm not leaning into the free arm. I'm just moving my shoulder blade. Roll back onto the other side for this next exercise. Reach out with your free arm in front of you. Keep that shoulder down and as far away from your chin as possible. You're going to start reaching forward as far as you can by gliding your hand on the floor, but you're just twisting your upper body. You're not letting your hips move at all. They're touching the ground at all times, and you're just reaching forward by rotating your thoracic region. You're kind of reaching with your chest towards the ground and allowing your arm to slide. Keep the distance between your shoulder and your chin at all times. Don't let that shoulder come up towards your ear. Now be gentle with this exercise and just allow yourself to reach a little bit further each time without compromising the position of your body. Now we're going to add a little bit of a hip movement. With each reach forward, you're going to extend the free leg that's on top and bring your knee back to the other knee and reach forward and extend and back to the center. Make sure to keep that shoulder down at all times. Don't let your shoulder come up to your ear. We're trying to engage the whole entire side and the diagonal fascial line. And this is actually similar to what happens when you're walking. Please repeat this exercise 8 times, and then we're going to switch over to the other side. We're starting by just reaching down and sliding your palm on the ground as far as you can without moving our hips at all. Just the upper body twist. As you can see, my shoulder is as far away from my ear as possible. Try to slide your palm a little bit further each time and repeat 8 times. Moving on to adding your hip, reach forward with your palm and at the same time reach back as far as possible with your leg into a diagonal stretch / twisting movement. For this next exercise, the position of your chest and your shoulders is very important. You want your sternum to face the ground directly, and you're not letting your shoulders slouch forward. I'm actively keeping my shoulders off the ground. I'm not arching my mid-back. My spine is straight, and I'm kind of feeling like I'm reaching down with my sit bones. I'm making my spine longer, as long as possible, without letting my shoulders come forward. I'm looking right into the ground. My neck is nice and elongated, and my paraspinal muscles are actively engaged already. Once you get into the position, you're going to move your shoulders away from the ground by scooting your shoulder blades into your back pocket. It's a very small movement. You don't have to arch your mid-back. You're just moving your shoulders away from the ground. Repeat this exercise 8 times unless you feel like you're fatiguing and can no longer keep your spine elongated or start arching your back. Let's take it up a notch. In this position, you're just going to actively keep your shoulders off the ground and scoot it into your back pocket, and you're just going to flip your palms up and down in that position. You're actively elongating your spine, your face is off the ground, your chest is kind of really pressing into the ground while your shoulders are scooted back. Flip for 16 times. One last exercise in this position. Go ahead and flip your palms facing downwards. You're going to actively push your shoulders away from the ground while pressing into the floor with your hands. Don't forget to breathe and hold this position for about 8 to 15 seconds, and you're going to repeat it 3 times. We're going to do a quick stretch for your QL and your lat. Bend one knee in front of you and the other leg is straight. Reach over to the straight leg, kind of leaning onto the side, and you're going to breathe into your rib cage. You can place your arm on your rib cage to help you guide yourself a little bit. Stay in that position for a few breaths. Really feel that side open up. Then you can kind of switch over to a more forward position. So you can reach both arms towards the straight leg. Take a few deep breaths in that position as well, feeling like you're reaching a little further each time. Switch over to the other side. Start with reaching overhead. You don't have to worry about touching your leg right off the bat. Just gently leaning to each position and keep taking deep breaths to allow the stretch to reach a little bit further. As you lean into the stretch, you can also add a little bit of oscillation in order to get a little bit deeper each time. We're going to end with a little bit of self-myofascial release for your chest. You're going to place your palm right where your ribs meet your sternum, apply a tiny bit of pressure, and just slide that hand all the way across your chest towards your shoulder. At the same time, you're going to open up your arm, the one side that you're working on, opening it all the way out to the side, and at the same time, you're going to look away from that arm with your head towards your opposite side. Keep sliding all across the chest muscles, all across those pecs. Really get in there into your armpit as well. And then you can switch over to the other side when you feel like you have covered all the surface. You can get a little bit of redness from this movement, but it's going to feel really great opening up that chest. And you might even feel a little bit of nerve flossing happening where you feel it all the way in the end of your fingertips. I am applying really steady pressure all throughout this movement as my palm moves towards my shoulder. If you come across a spot that might be a little more sensitive or tight, go ahead and stay with that spot for a few seconds while still going through the movement of the free arm. You can also take a few deep breaths and consciously channel them right into that sore spot. Don't worry that it's maybe a little bit yucky. Just kind of go through the movement and breathe.